Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, in this video, I will explain about the third question for P7-40. Okay, question 1A, calculate the overhead rate per machine hour for the molding department and per direct labor hour for the assembly department. Use the direct method to allocate support department cost. Okay, so we calculate the total allocation for each department. First, write the cost distribution for each department. Repairs 100,000, engineering 580,000, molding 500,000, and assembly 740,000. So next, allocation of repairs department cost. So the repair department cost, we will allocate the cost for the molding and assembly department. So for the ratio of the allocation for repairs department cost is 1/6 for molding and assembly 5/6. So the cost allocation for molding will be 16,666.67 and assembly 83,333.33. So next, allocation of engineering department cost. We will allocate the cost to the molding and assembly department. So the ratio of the allocation for molding is 17/20 and 3/20 for the assembly department. So the allocation cost for molding will be 493,000 and for assembly we will get 87,000. So uh, the total allocation cost for molding 509,666.67 and for assembly 170,333.33. So total budgeted overhead cost of production departments for molding 1,099,666.67 and for assembly department 910,333.33. So next we will calculate the overhead rate for molding department and assembly department. So for the molding department, the total budgeted overhead cost of production divided by the cost driver. Cost driver for the molding department, which is 40,000 machine hours, and we will get the overhead rate is 25.24 per machine hour. For the assembly department, so the overhead rate for assembly department, total budgeted overhead for assembly department divided by the cost driver of assembly department, which is 160,000 labor hours, and we will get the overhead rate for assembly department is $5.69 per labor hour. For question 1B, estimate the overhead cost of doughnut, which is produced using 3 machine hours in the molding department and 5 labor hours in the assembly department. So we just sum up the cost for molding department and for assembly department. So for molding department, the overhead rate we times with the 3 hours, and for the assembly department overhead rate times with the 5 hours, and we will get the total cost overhead cost of do that is $104.17. So for question 2A, calculate the overhead rate per machine hour for the molding department and per direct labor hours for the assembly department. Use the step-down method to allocate support department costs. Allocate the repairs department cost first. So for 2A, the question asks us to use the step-down method. So first, we write the cost distribution for each department. Repairs 100,000, engineering 580,000, molding 500,000, and assembly 740,000. So next, allocation of repairs department cost. So the allocation the total repair department cost, we will allocate the cost into engineering department, molding, and assembly department. So the ratio of the allocation cost is 1/10 for the engineering department, 3/20 for the mold department, and 3/4 the assembly department. So we will get the allocation cost for engineering is 10,000, molding 15,000, and assembly 75,000. So next, we calculate the allocation of engineering department cost. So the total engineering cost, the new cost for engineering is 590,000. So the 590,000, we will allocate the cost into molding department and assembly department. Using the ratio of 17/20 for molding and 3/20 for the assembly. So we get 1,500 for molding and 88,500 for assembly. So total allocated cost for molding is 516,500 and for assembly 163,500. Total budgeted overhead cost of production departments molding 1,016,500 and assembly 903,500. So next we calculate the overhead rate for molding department and assembly department. For molding department, total budgeted overhead cost for molding department divided by the cost driver for molding department, which is 40,000 machine hours. Then we get $25.41 per machine hours. Overhead rate for assembly department, the total budgeted overhead for assembly department divided by the cost driver of the assembly department, which is 160,000 labor hours. And we get the overhead rate for assembly department, $5.65 per labor hour. Question 2b. Estimate the overhead cost of dullet using the overhead rate estimated in part 2a. So same with the question 1b, we just sum up the cost for molding department, 25.41 times 3 hours, and total cost for assembly department, $5.65 times 5 hours, and we get $104.48. Okay, that's all for the explanation for question P7-40. Thank you.